Okay, not much happened yesterday, so I didn't bother streaming, except for the fact that I did lose I did get stopped out on a trade on, I believe over the weekend, or maybe it was yesterday, whatever it was. The short didn't pan out. Um, I think it was off the 575. I believe I took a short, trying to play the divergence. Didn't pan out, as you can see. This just skyrocketed to new highs today. Um, I didn't see that. Obviously, that could always happen, but I didn't really forecast that coming because of the divergence that was forming. But at the same time, I mean, it was making. If you only look at the price, the uptrend is there, and it's kind of obvious. I was playing a little bit more of a counter trend move, and there was no opportunity for me to jump in on the trend off of a retracement because there wasn't any significant retracement. It's just been grinding higher and higher, which is probably the hardest part to um, for this strategy. It's the most difficult if you're gonna follow the rules and not just shift and go based on instinct. It's hard to find a place to jump in because it's just grinding higher. It's not just there isn't an obvious place, but that's okay. The next obvious place for me right now is at the 575, same place as where I took the short, but taking it long this time. Um, and you'll see it come up in a second. Take profit is 3,925. Right there. Um, and then the backup, this time the backup order being the 500. 34,500. Stop loss is 34,425. And the profit is. So this is the other thing. I'm gonna from now on I'm gonna be doing open target profits to try and capture more than the 250. Um, this is something I should have been doing before. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna remove the take profit. And the way that I exit the trade is going to be off of when I spot a um, couple of pieces of evidence. The first one that I'll see probably is the divergence in price on a 1 hour time frame. Um, that alone isn't enough, though. I need to see confirmation, but the divergence in price is enough evidence for me to move the stop up. So, for example, I know I caught the bottom somewhere around here pretty good. On the 675, I believe, and uh, based on my rules, it was just bread and butter quarter trade. Um, but the person who originally taught me the strategy doesn't do that. The That was just a kind of a training wheels type of strategy or training wheels type of tool to psychologically give and mentally give a little bit of a boost when you gather wins. The way that he does it is he has no target. He has no take profit. He milks the trade for every point that it's worth until he decides, like, he might do like a 500 point or take some profit off at like 500 or 1,000, but oftentimes he'll go for like 2,000. He'll hold until it doesn't make sense to hold anymore. Um, Very different mindset than like that of a scalper, let's say, or a day trader. And that is the mindset I want to adopt slowly as well. And I think I feel ready to take that next piece on. So uh, the way that it's going to shape up for me, though, because he doesn't use indicators at all. He's good enough that he doesn't need that. He's confident enough that he doesn't need any kind of extra help other than looking at price and trend. Simple, simple. I love that he can do more with less. That's what inspired me to learn from him in the first place. But in my case, in the way that I would do it is enter here around the 675. I would hold it until the I wouldn't do anything until at least the quarter is passed. In which case that would be 675 would be something like, well, it would definitely be at least the 34 even. Okay? And the 34 even is actually a kind of a scary place, actually. The 34 even should actually have been a place where I was ready to take profit or move it to break even or something like that. In this particular case, though, the trend was strong enough that it completely ignored the major level, just broke right through it, blasted right through, went all the way up to 250. No retracement at all. Went all the way up to 500, no retracement at all. And that's when it started to change. So it would have been a little bit scary to have that much potential, like giving away profits, because this is literally 750 points from the bottom here to the top here. Not exactly, but in terms of quarter strategy, this is 3 quarters that completed within a span of 2 or 3 days, and that's like essentially 3 wins in a row for the price of 1. Right? You didn't even need to put in a third trade. But it also weighs on you, or me anyway, psychologically, because there's a little bit of it's not FOMO, but it's a fear of potential loss. That like, oh, I have that, like, that's why if you keep the strategy to like just the quarters, it's easier to, because you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to deal with that potential compounding fear of loss. Because if something happens, then you get caught with your pants down. There's like a bad Fed announcement or something, and you give away 500 points instantly. Then what do you do? Like, there's so much psychological damage you take in a situation like that. So having a fixed target of 250 is the simplest and easiest safeguard against that. But if you remove that safeguard, you allow for much bigger wins, but you also allow for giving away a ton of profit. Now, that's something I've already been quite used to. So for me, that's not as big a deal. I'm not like a rookie when it comes to feeling things like that. So I know how that goes. It's been a while because I've been using this take profit, 250 point take profit for a while. So I would have to, kind of get used to that feeling again. But I think it's time to take off that safety net and actually trade the way that I think that where the true strength of this strategy really shines is essentially just follow the trend. And the way that I would exit, though, is once I spot the divergence, move the stop up to wherever it makes sense, the new resistance or support that forms. In this case, it would be around like probably around the 325, or right below here, or the 250. Give it some breathing room. In which case, you mentally have to still say, okay, I went from I'll just call this 750 to the even thousand, and then the even thousand, the 0 to the 250. So I guarantee myself 500 points. That's a guaranteed back-to-back win. Um, and you just have to be okay with losing this this area up here. In hindsight, though, it would have continued, and now I would have moved the stop up to the 500, just guaranteed myself another 250 points. So that's the way that that it's supposed to be played. That's the original OG strategy. It's just I played the watered down strategy with training wheels, just going for 250 at a time. So, time to put on the big boy pants and try the adult version of the strategy. I need a good entry point though, and right now I don't have one except for the one that if it retraces back. Although, like honestly, if it's gonna come all the way back this far, I mean we have to see how the candles form, because this could come back down with a vengeance. Easy up also equals easy down usually. So this is a little bit risky, but I do like the strength, the imbalance that formed out of here, so it's worth a shot. Previous resistance becoming new support. It's worth taking a shot with no profit target set.